23 CR 2013 is called. The State of Texas versus Kiana Kincaid. That is you, right? You have to speak out so she can hear out loud. Thank you. You have a soft voice. And you were here with Mr. Turk, your attorney, and the state's attorney. There is a first amended motion to revoke probation that is pending. There was a motion to revoke probation filed in December of last year. And then before we could have a hearing on this, a first amended motion to revoke probation was subsequently filed in March of this year, adding 3 more allegations of wrongdoing. So we have a total of 9. It only takes 1 for revocation, but there are 9 violations here alleged. What are we going to do today? We were set for a hearing on it, and
I might just real quick with
go ahead.
Ms. Kincaid, we have talked about this, and your intent today was to plead true to several of these, just not all of them. You just wanted to give your explanation of what the context was to the judge, that he understands what's going around with several of these so that he's fully informed. Is that correct? So that's the intent, judges. She was willing to plead true.
What?
To 2 through, and I'm gonna check her.
Yeah.
2 through 5. These are the immediate report and arrest, the community service hours, breaking curfew, didn't do the driving course, and she's in arrears on her payments. And then she was in Harris County, and then on 8, it's the compound nature. I think she was incarcerated for at least 1 of those months, possibly 2 of those months. And then 7, I think it's a typo on their allegation, but there's not a failure to ID in Jefferson County. And then on the first one, I don't think the state can meet their burden on the immediate nature of the endangerment.
Raise your right hand. You are Kiana Kincaid. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the statements you make during this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Yes. Lower your hand. You were here with Mr. Turk, your attorney, the state's attorney, and the probation office is here. You've been on probation here with this court. And does the defendant, who is now charged with this first amended motion to revoke probation, filed as of March 24th, 2026, waive formal readings of the motion? Can we proceed in summary?
Yes, Judge.
In summary, this motion, first amended motion to revoke probation, alleges that on July 14th, 2025, wow, about a year ago, in this court, you were sentenced to 10 years in prison. That was suspended. You were placed on regular probation for 10 years for evading arrest or detention with a motor vehicle, a 3rd-degree felony. Is all of that true and correct?
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Yes. You hesitated, but is all that true?
I was unaware of the 10 years being suspended. I know.
She understood she was on probation. I think the way you phrased it, Judge, suspended, may have just thrown wrong, but you understand you were on probation.
I sentenced you to 10 years in prison. Then I said, but that imprisonment is suspended so long as you follow the terms and conditions of probation, and you're on probation for 10 years. That's the way I always say it. So we're true. But it's a conviction. But you didn't have to go to any confinement unless the court, as a condition of probation, ordered you to do so. I can't remember. I generally don't, especially if you're in custody at the time. So let's pick up what we can deal with. Number 2, allegation 2 states you failed to immediately report to the probation your new arrest. But is that true or untrue?
Well, when
is it true or untrue? Then you have a chance to explain. I just want to know, is it true or untrue? Failed to immediately report your new arrest. I don't know what we're talking about.
It would be the arrest for the matter right above it, Judge.
The number 1.
The November 30th, 2025
Correct.
Offense of abandoning or endangering a child arrest. Were you arrested for that?
Yes.
Okay. I think that's what they're talking about.
Yes.
Is that true?
Yes.
Okay. And you didn't report that immediately to the probation officer as you were required, correct? All right. So you're pleading true to that? 3, you failed to provide verification of performing community service hours as required and directed. You may have provided some verification, but were you doing all you could? I don't know. According to this, the memo states has failed to perform, I'm sure, and you had completed, this was as of December 5th of 2025, and you had been on probation since July of 25. As of last December, you had completed 0 hours of your assigned hours. I don't know if has she completed any at all up to now?
0 hours.
So, oh boy, that ought to be an easy one. Is that true? You failed to failed to provide verification of performing community service hours as required in your probation order. True? That you were at a location other than, and it says his residence, you're a girl, right? Yeah, okay. I'm gonna change that to her. You were at a location other than your residence as approximately 11:51 p.m. on or about November 30th, 2025 in violation of your probation order. Is that true?
Yes.
5, you failed to enter and successfully complete the defensive driving course that you were required to perform and complete. Is that true?
Yes.
And 8, you failed to report to the probation office for the months of January, February, and March of 2026 in violation of your probation order. Is that true? Did you stop recording?
No,
You reported in January, February, and March?
I did not report in January. I left her a voicemail and I was rescheduled for February the 17th.
Did you report then?
February the 17th, I was arrested that same day.
And you've been in custody ever since? Oh, what do we do? Are y'all abandoning that?
I will, Judge.
9, you failed to remain in Jefferson County, Texas, and that you were in Harris County, Texas on or about February 17th, 2026 without permission of the probation office, which was a violation of condition 7 of your probation order, which states don't leave Jefferson County without permission. Is that true?
Yes.
You were pleading true to allegations 2, 3, 4, 5, and 9. Everybody happy with me so far now?
We're with you.
I'm always
Pleading
happy
true to
with
those allegations voluntarily, knowingly, intelligently, and because they are true as they are alleged. You understand that a voluntarily and knowingly made plea is true to one or more violations of probation. That is enough to grant a motion to revoke probation. Your probation can be revoked. You can be sentenced to no less than 2, no more than 10 years confinement in prison. Knowing that, you insist on pleading true today. I find you are pleading true to these violations voluntarily, knowingly, intelligently, because they are true. I need a pad, I guess. We got an agreement?
No, sir.
Oh, there's no, it's,
That's part of the reason we're having a hearing today, Judge.
all right. So there is enough to grant the motion. What do we do? State?
I had hopes that I would have an officer here about the November 30th offense, but I could not make that happen, Judge, which was one of the reasons why we weren't able to reach an agreement. That being said, her admissions here are certainly all administrative in nature. But they center around her failure to adjust properly on probation. When we look at the PSI, her offense was for evading arrest. She wasn't following officers' orders in the time frame. Her history in the post PSI indicates that she'd been given an opportunity at probation before for a misdemeanor offense in Chambers County, as well as a felony offense in Orange. And the one in Orange in 22 ended up with her being revoked and receiving 14 months. It's one of the reasons why she got the straight probation offer here. Just like the last hearing we had, my position is that whenever we give someone an opportunity who is working with a felony conviction history and they don't comply with the rules, I'm going to have the position that they need to go to prison. She should have been on notice with that type of criminal history that it's a zero tolerance rule in this courtroom. My preference obviously would have been to have evidence as to the new criminal law violations, but I don't have that. But I do have her conduct admitting to being out of Harris County, out of permission, or violating her curfew, and just generally not adjusting to following the rules that we all do on a daily basis.
You judge.
Go ahead.
If I have asked just in case some questions. It's kind of, because you wanted to give the explanation of what some of these things were, and you understand that when you start talking, he gets less questions out, right? So on the immediately reporting, did you in fact call your probation officer after you arrested? It just wasn't maybe the next day?
Yes, I did give her a call, and she asked me to report on the 11th, and it ended up changing to December the 15th. And I reported with her that day. I did make her aware of the arrest, just not the news of it, because it was an accusation.
And you're going off memory right now. You don't have documents in with you in your jail cell or trial. Everything you're testifying to right now is from memory. And then on the community service hours, let me ask you this. You were put on probation in July of last year, correct? It has not yet been a year. Actually, your year is next month is the anniversary is next week, I'm sorry, for your year date. Can I say something?
Yes.
And you were incarcerated at least since February of this year. So that's roughly about 5 months.
Yes.
And then prior to that, let's say July until November timeframe, were you reporting and basically following most of the things that you're supposed to do on probation?
Yes, sir. But report sometimes 10 minutes early just to be sure that I made it on time.
And then you thought you had another year or the rest of that year, if you will, to do the rest of the things you were supposed to do that year to include community service hours, right? And then were you also thinking about taking advantage of the food bank program?
Yes.
And were you precluded from doing that because you were in arrears for, you couldn't do the food bank program because you hadn't paid your fees yet? Is that right? Or do you understand that?
Yes, she did make me aware.
Are you intending to do the community service hours?
Yes.
If you had not been in jail, would you have worked at some of them?
Yes.
Okay. And then as far as being outside of your house or your breaking curfew, what is your job?
I am an Uber driver.
And what does that mean?
That means I pick up clients who are in need of a ride.
Okay. Were you working on November 30th, 2025 at roughly 11:50 p.m. that night?
Yes.
Had you been working for a couple of hours prior to that?
Yes, I started at 8 a.m.
So you were working that day. You were outside your house for employment purposes.
Yes.
Okay. And then as far as the defensive driving class, you thought you had some time, you're on probation for 10 years, right? You just didn't get a chance to do it, correct? Are you going to do it? Is that something that you could fix pretty easily if you can get out? Okay. And then as far as being in Harris County, was that in association with your Uber driver?
Yes.
Is that why you were over there? Why did you have a passenger?
Yes.
And were you intending to stay in Harris County?
No, sir.
Were you going to come right back after you dropped off your passenger?
Yeah.
What prevented you from coming back
I got stopped by an officer.
and arrested? Okay. And then from that date, that was February 17th, from that date till today, you've been in somebody's jail. Okay. You have 2 daughters?
Yes, sir.
How old are they now?
Ages 10 and 8.
Do they look at you? Have you been their mother? Have you taken care of them up until the time you were incarcerated? Okay. Do you also take care of somebody else? Who's that?
My grandmother?
Do they all 3 of those need your assistance?
The 2 of me.
What are you crying about?
Thinking about the children.
Why aren't you thinking about them before you start making violations of probation or committing the offense of evading arrest or detention when they caught you out at 2 o'clock in the morning that you're placed on probation for?
It wasn't intentional.
Oh, somebody put a gun to your head and forced you? Well, all actions are intentionally unless you're out of your mind. I don't think that was proven.
I really do the best I can to make a way from the unnatural.
It's not what you have to follow the rules. That has to be the best you can, needs to be above the requirements of following the rules. People always say, I'm doing the best I can. I just can't seem to be on curfew, perform community service hours, successfully complete defensive driving, on and on, failing to report failing to remain in Jefferson County without permission. And let's don't forget all the circumstances of this offense in the first place. You were driving around with a silver Mercedes at 1:06. It was registered to a white Tesla 4-door. You didn't even have, I mean, it was one wrongdoing after another. The police, Negro police chased that and had to chase you, and you were driving in and out, fleeing through a bank parking lot, several streets, entered townhomes in Port Arthur, jumped out, and then fled from the police. Were you thinking about your children at any time? You were doing this was in their best interest?
That was my place of residence at the time. And
Up until then, you were running from the police. Which part? Which part? Driving a vehicle that had the wrong registration on it?
I just had purchased that car and that's how it came. I haven't made any changes
For purchase it from whom?
from some person who was
Who?
billing from Beaumont.
Who?
I can't remember his name.
Uh-huh.
But I have
That always happens here. Instead of what everybody else does, is they go to a dealership, a legitimate dealership. No, you're dealing off the street with people you claim you don't know, you know. And your memory is fading. That's what I get all the time. But the fact of the matter is, this was at 1:00 in the morning when you had children at home.
My children were with my mom that day.
What are you doing at 1:06 in the morning? Aren't you supposed to be being a mother?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So there was somebody else at 1:06 in the morning while you're driving, while the police are chasing you with a vehicle that's registered to another type of vehicle. Why did you flee from the police in the first place?
Because he was stalking me everywhere I
The
went.
police were stalking you?
Yes, sir. I went to the store and he followed me at the store. I went to McDonald's drive-thru. He circled around the drive-thru. I stopped at my family's home. He circled that area 5 times, turned the bright lights on. I was scared. I didn't know what he wanted or what was happening. I was really scared.
The first sentence of their probable cause affidavit is that I, along with other Nederland police officers, observed a silver Mercedes-Benz passenger car displaying a temporary tag that was issued to a white Tesla. And then everything happened after that. So they weren't stalking you. They're doing their job. They recognized that you were in a falsified vehicle that had falsified tags. And they're supposed to ignore that? No, they were doing their job. So when they put their emergency lights to stop you, then you flee.
To my home.
You fled. When they put their emergency lights, why didn't you pull over and stop like we all are supposed to by law?
In fear.
In fear? Okay. Once again, you're driving a car with temporary tags that's registered to a Tesla, not a Mercedes. They had all the business in the world to properly stop you. Sorry, you're committing a crime. And you compounded it by fleeing and running. And this is at 1:00 anyway. Nothing good happens at that time. Nonetheless, here we are. What are we going to do?
I remember you testifying at a prior time in here with the court. And the question came up about whether or not you were working for Uber or for Lyft. Which one is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
How
And
long were you working with them? About?
Just started maybe about a month.
before the incident.
Yes.
So I've got a few questions about this, but I wanted to clarify, it's for Lyft, right? So with the employment, did you report that to the probation officer and get permission to work the kind of schedule that you're talking to the judge about?
No, sir. I wanted to be sure that I was okay with the job before I made any commitments of the job.
So on your own, you decided, let me test this out, see if it works, right?
So work my employee's paying.
With full knowledge that you had a curfew requiring that you couldn't be out unless it was for employment purposes, which implies
That doesn't matter.
they've got to know, they've got to approve it. They've got to see your work schedule. They have to know. You're saying, yes, you understand this. So I'm looking at records now. Do you actually have a valid driver's license?
I have a license.
He asked for a valid license.
I'm not sure.
In fact, you had a charge for May 5th of 2025 for driving without having a valid license. That was out of JP Court, Precinct 8 here in Jefferson County.
You're not sure? Who's not
Yes or
sure?
no, man?
Who's not sure about that? Everybody's sure.
This
About where they have a driver's
This is a
license.
warrant that I'm showing you for the fact that you didn't resolve that. Do you remember this or not?
Yeah.
I'll be
All right, so maybe you have a valid license.
Wait a second. You live on Grant Avenue?
That is the previous address I lived before. Yes.
I grew up in that house. What are the odds of that?
All right, so you may or may not have a valid driver's license. You end
Go
up,
figure.
this court's already gone over with you the problem with the car that you had about the temporary tag and whether or not it matched, right? And he also talked with you about purchasing through people, right? Folks who don't have a valid driver's license have to go to a third party instead of a dealership. Is that why you did that?
I just saw the price for sale and a decent price that I could afford.
All right, so when you were stopped on November 30th of 2025, you were in an Equinox. Are you aware that the documentation showed that it matched up to some Mercedes vehicle instead of the Equinox?
No, I was not.
And you admit what time frame it was. And this is you working without permission from the Jefferson County. And you had your girls with you in the car, did you not? And they were not properly seatbelted in anywhere in the car. They were in fact where?
In the back. Yes.
You told the officer they were asleep in the trunk at that time, but they were actually, it's not a trunk, it's one of those lift backs where they're laid out in blankets back there.
Yeah, that's open space. And they were with me due to the fact that I did not have a babysitter that day. And I had been working all day and I wanted to continue to work to make extra money. So that way I could cover probation and the bills that I had incurred.
Were one of these children that we're talking about, were they one of the children that you got charged with driving while intoxicated with a child under the age of 15? Right, my question, for your offense in Orange County, where you were given probation for driving while intoxicated with a child passenger, was it one of your children?
It's gotta be, right?
Yes, sir.
Right, so it's the same one that you've been telling the judge that they need you at home with them. Let's go forward to correct, right? Those are the ones you want to go home to, the same ones that were victims of an offense that you were placed on probation before in Orange County, correct?
My children are always with me and take very good care of them. I'm a great mother and they love me. They say I'm the best mom.
But were they secured properly in the vehicle when you were driving?
Yes.
Which time, Judge?
The one we was talking about?
November 30th of 2025, when you had those children
They
in
were
the
laying
back
back.
of the vehicle,
They weren't secured.
They had a body pillow and a blanket with them, and they were in the back of the SUV due to the fact of me working and having clients to keep them from.
You get into a car wreck, the head-on collision, they go flying out the windshield, right? Wouldn't that probably happen?
Because they're not seatbelted in, correct?
I mean, that's why you're supposed to secure them in those seats, those proper seats for security.
So
That's a rule.
we go forward in time to February 17th of 2026. You're still operating as a Lyft driver, and it still has not been approved by the probation department, correct? Is that a yes? And you were once again in a vehicle that did not match the the license plate, and car information didn't match. The officers told you that, correct?
Yeah.
And you actually had a warrant out for your arrest for this particular motion to revoke probation, correct?
Yeah.
On this occasion, you were in a Chevy Equinox. The license plate registration went back to a Mercedes-Benz.
I'm gonna object to this as hearsay.
It's asking a cross-examination to she can either say yes or no.
Still hearsay.
Overrule. Go ahead. She can answer if she knows.
You were in an Equinox, correct? And the license plate information came back to a Mercedes-Benz.
That I did not know.
Are you aware that it didn't match your vehicle?
I wasn't aware until one of the officers told me.
And in fact, when the officers asked you to identify yourself, you didn't give them your proper name, did you?
I was scared.
So you didn't
What was
give
that?
them
Yes.
Yes, sir.
What name did you give?
My sister's name.
And the officers claimed to find in the vehicle items they claimed could be marijuana, is that right?
I they did not.
They didn't tell you that? They didn't tell you that they found 3 different bags, including items that were in your purse, and that they suspected that it was marijuana?
Whose car was that again?
My car,
Okay.
Specifically, what was found in your purse was a rolled blunt.
they did not tell me that was.
You admit or deny that you had a rolled blunt within your purse then? And you are saying you had no knowledge of 3 different pouches of marijuana found in that vehicle, correct? I don't have any other questions for her, Judge.
Anything for me?
Just a couple, Judge. The cases in Harris County, are they still pending?
I was informed that, that lawyer is getting those, dismissed.
Who told you that?
Do you know if they've been dismissed?
Who told you that? How do you know that?
My lawyer, Patrick, in Houston.
Somebody else told, a lawyer told you that?
My mom spoke with that lawyer.
And then your mom told you?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
But your understanding is that they've been dismissed?
From my knowledge, yes.
On the night when your girls were in the back of your SUV, were they in any immediate danger?
No, sir.
Nothing was like, there wasn't a gun back there or bombs or anything, actually wasn't imminent?
No,
Have you ever failed a drug test whenever you were dealing with the probation office?
no, sir. No. I haven't done any drugs.
And have you been to court or done anything with your Harris County stuff?
No, sir.
So you weren't able to get discovery or see what they were saying over in Harris County?
No, sir.
Anything else you want to tell the judge?
I truly, truly apologize for what has occurred. It was not intentionally. I'm not a bad person of continuous bad behavior, nor am I a threat to society. I want to do the right thing, and I want to be included in your 93% success rate of probation. And I love my children dearly, and I try my best to not put them in harm's way. I just made a mistake, and I'm very sorry. And I don't think that my kids need to suffer.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
I don't think that my children need to suffer without me, because they keep asking for me to be with them.
Okay. And but you're stating that, except for what we talked about here, you wouldn't put your children in harm's way. Is that correct? As a mother, have you ever put them in harm's way? No? Is that no? I can't hear you.
No, sir. I do my best to not put them in any type.
You got to do more than your best. You got to do it when you're down. I'm a parent. I know what it's like. Problem is, you've been convicted in Orange County of driving while intoxicated with a child under 15 years of age. You were not only convicted of that, you were placed on probation, and you lost that since your probation was revoked in 24. And then you were sentenced, to 14 months in the state jail? You know what that's like. That was happening, and then I placed you on probation after, I guess you were through, you finished the state jail over there. You came over here, and then we placed you on probation. We've got all these violations now. All right, anything else?
Just real quick, just your daughter's ABR rule, doing well in school. They're active in like youth activities. Church, that's what the court did.
What's everybody asking for?
I just don't think she's got a realistic viewpoint of what the kind of decisions that she's making. She doesn't even recognize the kind of harm that she's exposed her children to on more than one occasion. And I don't think the kids are doing fine without her. That's a blessing for them. I give her an opportunity to do the right thing. She's failed at it. I'm asking that you revoke her and give her prison time.
How much? What are you talking about?
She has not received any significant penitentiary time, and we're not dealing with an actual finding of new offenses here. So I would suggest on the low end of the punishment range, Judge. I'll say 4 years.
As we discussed earlier with this revocation, she was put on probation. Presumably that was all of the issues and incidents were taken that Mr. Ham has alluded to were taken into account for that probation. That's why she was put on probation in part. The allegations that remain on this particular revocation, she made the right decisions in some areas, but they're all administrative, and she's explained what was going on. She knows now that she should call her probation officer and tell her she's got a new job. She wants to do the community service. She wants to do defensive driving, but she has been incarcerated for short of half of the time of her first year. In fact, I think next Tuesday is her first year. She just hasn't had the opportunity in full to complete those requirements. She is requesting reinstatement on probation. She's willing, if the court looks to increase the conditions, I think she would be amenable to that. But she does want to get reinstated so she can go back, do the right thing, learn from what she has been doing, what not to do, so to speak, but extend that second chance that the court granted her with this case to a time where she can actually demonstrate sufficiently to the court that she is worthy of the probation that you granted her.
All right, anything you want to say? Anything else, man? I think I understand what you want, but anything else you would like to add?
Yes. I'm not a troublemaker, and I feel that
You committed 2 felony offenses now. And I'm not talking about the marijuana for probation as a misdemeanor, but you got two felony convictions. Yeah, you can talk about what you are, but we are judged by the choices we make. You're making bad choices. You can talk about how good you are, but you got 2 felony convictions now. And you're on second felony conviction, and you got several violations of probation. It's still, you can't just talk about it. You gotta do the right thing.
I can guarantee to walk a straight line with 0 tolerance.
You promised you'd do that when I put you on probation. Promised the other probation people you would do that. You signed the same documents. It's the same kind of documents. You know what you're supposed to do, and any violations can result in revocation. And here you are again. You know, you make the same statements before. Well, you gotta do it. Don't just make promises that you don't keep. Huh. Oh. Anything else? I'm going to find that there is sufficient evidence supporting this motion, first amended motion to revoke probation, and granted by a preponderance of the evidence or greater, as allegations 2, 3, 4, 5, and 9 are proven true by a preponderance of the evidence or greater. Your probation is hereby revoked. You are hereby sentenced to confinement in the institutional division of the Texas Department of Criminal Justice. Serve a term of 3 years. You will be given credit for all time you have served. It looks like you've got 130 some odd days already. You could have been sentenced to up to 10 years. This is your second felony conviction that we're dealing with. The first one was a state jail felony, but this one, any subsequent felonies, it's going to be, the punishment range will be added a degree level higher for any future felony wrongdoing above a state jail felony. But you know your mistakes have consequences, and you're back again for similar type of mistakes. Fix that. You've got reasons to be out there taking care of children, but you're not doing it at 1 o'clock in the morning as you get caught committing crimes.
Chance? This case wasn't just about missing appointments or violating probation. It was about trust. The court had already given multiple opportunities through treatment programs, probation, and strict supervision. But in the judge's eyes, repeated violations showed that those chances had been exhausted. One thing is certain, probation is a privilege, not a guarantee. When someone repeatedly breaks the conditions, judges have a legal responsibility to protect the public, even when the decision is difficult. Now it's your turn. If you were sitting in that courtroom, wearing the judge's robe, what sentence would you have handed down? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoy real courtroom breakdowns, legal analysis, and true crime cases like this one, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss our next courtroom story.